This is the Bitcoin Otter Radio Show.
Oh my God, I love you so much!
On 97.7 FM, The City.
Greetings, blessings, and good fortune, everybody. I am back, and I brought my mustache. Thank you for showing up. We've got some interesting stuff going on. So what I want to do is take my blue blocker off, and thank you for showing up. Whoever's in, I'm going to check the chat right now, see how we're doing. Felix, I hope you're here. I had a glitch. Felix, if you're still in, I don't know if you're still in, throw something up if you are. But if you're still in, I got something I want to show everybody that you had sent to me, a very interesting piece of artwork. I call it Otter Zen. So I don't see anybody in there yet. We had a glitch a moment ago. So hopefully you'll be popping back in, and we'll be able to share some of what's going on. And there's a lot going on. Believe you me. So if there's something you guys want to talk about, I am game. We're going out from the Otter's Den today, as you can see very well. I've got my shirt on that some of you have already seen and liked. So here it is. Felix is on. So what I wanted to do was let everybody know we're going out on YouTube, we're going out on Facebook, we're going out on a few other things. We're not in studio, as you know. So TuneIn Radio and Radio Garden are, I guess you could call it, off the books today. So once people get in here, Felix, I want to show them the, let me see if I can clip onto here. Isn't that beautiful? With a little help from AI, Felix comes up with these things, and they're wonderful. So I'll be sporting that throughout the show. I don't get to do that all the time because when we're in studio, it's a little bit more difficult, time crunch, all that. Joe is on mission today. He's doing some Rio Grande Valley health thing with the military people. Barry, good to see you in the chat. Glad you could make it. We got some, of course, things to talk about, but at the same time, I want to talk about what you guys want to talk about. And what I'm saying about things is we got some stuff going on, and I'm going to ask you guys a few questions because I'm confused on some things, like, for example, the merger of the U.S. military with Israel. It's nebulous to me. I don't understand exactly what's going on, but I haven't dug in yet either. So if you guys have, I'd love to hear what you have to say if you want to weigh in on that. And then I want to talk about the Clarity Act. Okay, that thing is coming along, and if you're in cryptos in any way, you're going to want to know about that. So first, we're going to go to our verse of the day. Probably should have had a graphic for this, but I don't. However, the verse of the day is, as I update it, Jesus said, "Let the little children come to me, and do not hinder them, for the kingdom of heaven belongs to such as these." Yeah, the kingdom of heaven doesn't belong to those who want to grab it. It belongs to those who ask. So, we got that going for us. So I was just, I was going through Twitter, and there's as usual a bunch of craziness going on, and I was wondering what it is that the people, average Americans, right? What is it that grabs their attention so much? So I see these Twitter feeds that feed off of like old TV shows or surveys and stuff like that. What is it that grabs Americans' attentions nowadays? I don't know. I see a lot of nastiness out there. I don't watch TV anymore because of that. But I'm thinking, okay, so if something's gonna grab the attention of the Americans, I guess it's what, war? So we got this Iran thing going on now. Apparently we're going to go on another offensive if they do anything wrong, and they have been. So personally, I think it's a fake war. I don't think it's all real. Are there deaths? Probably, but I'm not certain. We don't see it. We're not there. Who's going to verify it? I know I don't have any ticket to Tehran. I'm not going over there. So who's going to verify it? We can't trust the media. We know that there's a narrative war going on. So I really can't say as to whether I believe it or not. Anything you guys want to throw in on there, I'm willing to listen. But I do know that there are things, I guess you could say, things that are going around that are crazy, both now and, well, in the recent past. I want to share this one with you. It's a little image I have here. I was digging around my desk and I see this change. You know, it was just I picked up a quarter, and it was a 2022 quarter. I looked on the back, and check this out. Let me hit the image here. Look at this woman. They have on the back of a 2020, and remember, that was the auto pen presidency. Look at this woman's name on the back of our quarter with a star next to her. Could be many different types of stars, but could also be that communist star. Who knows? Look at her name, guys. Look at her name. Wilma Mankiller, Principal Chief. And then what's under that? I have no idea. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that font is. I have no clue. However, they want us to think about Wilma Mankiller. I don't know why, but they like her. She kills men. Matt says, Barry, let's go to Iran and report for Chris. Thank you, guys. You know, if I had the money, if the stinking Bitcoin would ever blow up, we would have enough money to go over there, get ourselves some Kevlar helmets, flak jackets, and we could report back, you know, right from the ground there for probably about 5 minutes until they arrested us and flayed us alive or whatever they do in their mullah land. Barry Songer says, Section 219, the NDAA bill, combines ours and Israel's military intel. Speculation that it could combine military personnel also passed in the House, now in the Senate. Is it just me, or is this so ridiculous on its face that it's got to be more of the narrative warfare? Why would we ever do something like that? Now, I am an avowed isolationist. That's the pejorative term for someone who wants no foreign entanglements. No foreign entanglements, including with our neighbors. You want to, have fair, not free. It's never free. Do you want fair trade? Let's do that. Okay? Do you want to help each other out in times of need? Let's do that. Do we want political entanglements? And how much more politically entangled do you want to get by, combining our, not that I don't think it's already there. They're spying on us and we're spying on them. But why do it officially? Literally. Officially, why do that? It's just crazy. So there's something else to it. I don't know. Passed in the House and now in the Senate, says Barry. And I don't know where you guys are at. Yeah, thank you. I see that little emoji that says it all. Our greatest ally. Yeah. Ask the survivors of the USS Liberty if that is our greatest ally, as the napalm was being sprayed by Israeli jets onto the USS Liberty, and then it was lied about by our leaders. And if you're not familiar with that, there's a website. Certainly do not look at the mainstream media spin of it was an accident. No, it was not. Not whatsoever an accident. So, where are we going with this conversation? We've got we've got stuff to talk about. If anybody else knows anything more about that NDAA, which is a criminal act, by the way, which was enacted shortly after 9/11, which was not done by a guy with a laptop in a cave. I don't care what they say. The Bushies, they had something to do with it. They just used another scapegoat like they did with Kennedy, which in this case was Osama bin Laden. And I think it was like a matter of hours, and they already had the guy, as the guilty party. It's just stupid. Just so stupid that we believed it. And I gotta, throw myself in that jackpot because I wanted to, steamroll whatever country I thought at the time was responsible, when actually I would have been steamrolling myself here in the great USA. Now, Bitcoin, ladies and gents, and I'll get you a price right now. I don't know if you've checked it. I checked it yesterday. We'll get something a little more accurate. But a lot of what we're looking at now, 65,000, right? So 65,000 for a Bitcoin. it, it's a bargain basement price. Who knows what's going to happen with this Clarity Act? But I do have another thing about the Clarity Act. So I'm going to put up a graphic in a minute, and it's from X, and it refers to Senator, I believe, Cynthia Loomis, and she's the champion of this bill. So what it's referring to, this X post, is the opposition, basically mostly by one Pocahontas. Yeah, if you remember her, she is the one who is absolutely 0%, 0.000% Native American, and she claimed that she was one of them, And then she does insider trading, and you know who I'm talking about. Pocahontas is going to be revealed in a minute, but this here, actually, no, she's talking about Nancy Pelosi. So Pelosi and Pocahontas, two P's, PP, are against the Clarity Act. So Senator Cynthia Loomis, the champion of the Clarity Act, which there are mixed feelings of because it does bring all the nastiness of basically the government apparatus into our favorite cryptos. However, the Senator Cynthia Loomis says in this X post, Nancy Pelosi made millions off stock trades in Congress and fought a trading ban for years. Yeah, so she didn't want people to ban insider trading. She loves it. She gained a lot from it. So why would she want to ban it? So here is Senator Loomis saying that President Trump is voluntarily binding himself to the Clarity Act's conflict of interest rules on digital assets in ways she'd never apply to her own bottom line, would Pelosi. Ask yourself who actually believes in accountability. Well, we know who believes in accountability, and it's certainly not Pelosi, whose husband, I think, was recently arrested for another faux pas by which he apparently was driving drunk this time. He beat his phoned up lover the last time he was in dire straits legally. He I think attempted to beat him with a hammer, or the guy was attempting to beat him with a hammer. But I think the phrase that really should tell us what we need to know is beat him. And it is a double entendre, if you will, but there was a lot of beating going on in the Pelosi household when he called his male escort for a session over to the Pelosi household. So where I just completely want to, I don't know how I got onto that nastiness. But what I'm saying is, with this Clarity Act, I am hoping that the Clarity Act will indeed bring forward just that. Not only clarity of, hey, this is where the rules are. This is what it is to be against the rules. And this is how we're going to go forward in this space. That is what I hope the clarity will be all about. However, we don't know exactly how it's going to manifest and what the, difficulties might be, the complications of it might be. So, Darren Kavanaugh, hey, how you doing, brother? Yeah, the official story is that the Liberty incident was an accident by both sides. Because the intelligence community has been anti-Israel for a long time, it was intercepting critical battlefield communications and handing them right over to the Egyptians, threatening Israeli soldiers and sabotaging war strategy Israel needed at the time for its very survival. So the call was made to sink the betraying vessel rather than suffer catastrophic and possible existential destruction. Yes, and it was also a betrayal. It was also a betrayal to the United States. So they are not our greatest ally. Do you know who our greatest ally is, ladies and gentlemen? God himself. Jesus Christ, the King of Kings himself. That is our greatest ally. Anyone else in the human sphere is not our ally, other than to do fair trade, other than to do what it is we need to do to be friendly. Okay? Sharing intel is not being friendly, it's being foolish. When our founding fathers said no foreign intelligence, that means we do not allow people to blow our sailors to smithereens and then claim it was an accident when it certainly wasn't. So that is my stance on that. Matt says, I hope it passes, but the criminals will steamroll both the Clarity Act and Save America Act. It's possible. It's possible, Matt. Anyone in Congress that pushes for them better check their lug nuts. Yeah. You know, I've got another one, I think. Yeah, it's coming up in a little bit, Matt. I've got another visual. Checking your lug nuts. Yeah, that is definitely something you're going to want to do, okay? If you go against the deep state. I don't care if you're red, you're blue, you're a so-called Democrat or a so-called Republican, a conservative or a liberal, okay? Just ask Seth Rich. Seth Rich was a Democrat. Yeah, he loved him. Seth Rich loved socialism, which was in, the case of, for political reasons and purposes, was Bernie Sanders. He is definitely not a socialist. Socialists don't have 2 or 3 mansions, okay? Their wives don't, well, maybe their wives do steal from universities like his did. But anyway, suffice it to say that his favorite socialist was Bernie Sanders, and he got Bernied. He got Bernied by the Democrat National Convention, and he probably had the votes against Hillary. But since the DNC is what the DNC is, they just completely Bernied Bernie. And Seth Rich got pissed. He says, hey, I'm not going to let this stand. So he goes into, somehow he gets a hold of the Democrat server, which was off of, I believe, something along the lines of John Podesta's laptop. So he downloaded it, metadata, I'm not in that whole technosphere, but metadata shows that it was downloaded and it was not hacked. So it wasn't Russia. It was Seth Rich. Seth Rich was a Democrat staffer for Bernie Sanders. He brings it down, he gives it, uploads it, and gives it to Julian Assange, okay, in WikiLeaks. WikiLeaks distributes the whole kit and caboodle. And guess what happened to Seth Rich? He didn't check his lug nuts, Matt. So 2 friendly, invited by you-know-who, MS-13 members, 2 of them, whacked him. Now, it was a robbery, okay? The official story. It was a robbery, right? Just like the other official thing for the U.S. Liberty was, it was an accident. So during this robbery, they left his phone, they left his wallet, and they left his watch. So he was whacked because he did what he did. And as you so eloquently put it, Matt, he didn't check his lug nuts. Now, as we remember, I think this was probably on last week's show, because I like to tell people about the 3 degrees of separation. So the 2 that whacked Seth Rich were then whacked, okay? So you had the original guy that brought out the threat, which was John Podesta. Then you have the whackers, and then you have the whacker of the whackers. Does it make sense? Sure does to me. Check your lug nuts. Matt also says Russia and China are our allies too. Absolutely. Thank you. They are. And I think to one degree or another, we are working with them behind the scenes much more than anybody else. I hope we are. Because that will avoid World War III. Am I wrong? Corinne, hey, how you doing? This aggression will not stand, man. Exactly, Corinne. This aggression will not stand, man. So Seth Rich did something about it. And he got whacked for it. Barry says, first, a push for selective service. Sign up or else. Then NDAA section 219. Yeah. Another emoji, right? So selective service would put us all, viable for draft, which we turn 18, we're supposed to register on our own. But they said, no, we got all your info. We know how dirty your underwear is. We don't need any of that. We're just going to sack up your info and we're going to register you for you, right? That's what you're talking about, I think, Barry. So let me go back to really quick, unless you want to bring a few more things in there, Barry. I'm going to go back to what Matt said about checking your lug nuts, because it dovetails with something I have here, an image here. So I took this from And We Know, a good podcast, guys. He's very, I guess you could call him spiritual. So he kind of ties things in with the Bible and so forth, and our times, the signs of our times, right? So he says here, Walsa Poiney gets 2 life sentences plus 40 years. Wow, that's justice if he doesn't get released. For murdering Minnesota. Can I say murder on Facebook? I don't know. We might be getting throttled again. Anyway, for Emming, Minnesota House Speaker. Vance Bolter whacked Melissa Hortman and her husband shortly after she voted against healthcare for illegals. Sanity, right? Sanity was part of her, and she was a D. And no King's flyers, of course, were found in his vehicle. Now, he wrote in plain English, pen and paper, I believe, that it was Waltz that ordered it. So, I'll leave this up there for a minute because this is exactly what you're saying, Matt. Look at that woman's face, and you can't see the video. I don't have it on video. It's just an image. But her face says it all. The woman was terrified, and she knew what was going to happen. She is a patriot. I don't care if she's a Democrat. She's a patriot. So was Seth Rich, a patriot. And they paid the ultimate price. Because in that party, if you stand for America, you will be whacked. I don't care what party you're in. Stand for America. They're coming for you. Well, you know what? It's time we go for them. We need to go for them. We need these people to go away. We need them to go away for a long time. And what this guy is going to serve, hopefully, are 2 murder sentences plus 40 years in case he lives for 3 lifetimes. Okay? That's the kind of thing we need. Or just send him to his maker. Send him to his maker. That, to me, would be the best case scenario. And I want to tell you something. People want to say, hey, yeah, you can throw around this capital punishment stance of it. If I ever do something against a child, if I ever do something for which I am found guilty by the American system, I expect to go to the noose or the shooting gallery or whatever you want to call it. Fry me, whatever you want to do. I deserve it if I am found guilty. But I'll tell you what, there are frame-ups and so forth. But this guy came out and said it. I did what Waltz told me to do. I did what Waltz told me to do. So what's up with Waltz? What's going to happen to a sitting governor of a captured state in our great United States of America? We shall see. We shall see. Barry says, PSYOP. Yeah, exactly. I think it is. I think this whole thing is a PSYOP. Now, where we stand on it, how the narrative rolls out, how the the warp and the woof of the whole fabric goes, I don't know. And what I'm hoping is that this whole NDAA 219 thing that you've, illustriously pointed out to us is going on. I hope that comes and blows up, right? Let me give you an example. Let me give you a perfect example. On last Thursday after the show, the boss came on, Donald J. Trump, and he talked about the foreign influence, specifically the Chinese, and they weren't the only ones by a long shot, the Chinese foreign influence on the 2020 election. But he left it there. He left it there, didn't he? Why? This, and I'm not the only one to say this. If you guys ever want to look at and listen to some really good stuff on Rumble, is a new media conglomerate called Badlands. Lots of patriots. Rumble is very censorship resistive, all that good stuff. So they speak on things for like 2 hours if you can handle that, right? I just drive around, I listen to it, right? But a good point is this. Donald Trump told us that China stole whatever they stole. They stole our names, they stole our socials, and we know there have been data breaches throughout history of digital data, right? And they have all our stuff. What he didn't say, what he stopped and fell short of saying, was that they used it, they weaponized it, they gathered it, and they sprung it on us to put the Joker, the auto pen, into office in 2020. He stopped short of that. And I think he did that for a reason. Because during that broadcast, he also focused on the real criminals that we really need to worry about, the invisible enemy within the United States. Now, most of you that are watching the show right now have taken an oath. At least once you've taken the oath, okay, to fight against enemies, foreign and domestic. Well, right now, our enemies domestic are greater than our enemies foreign. You can argue with me on this, but I would definitely argue that I'm right. So Barry says probably nothing happens to him as far as Waltz. Yeah, I would guess, but hopefully, the Insurrection Act is doing its thing behind the scenes. If you know what I mean, I'm winking in case you guys are listening and not watching. Barry says it's not done yet. Contact your senator. Yeah, and I'm laughing for real, even though your comment has the ha 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 behind it. I'm laughing for real. The installed ones or the ones we voted in? Can you tell the difference? I can't. I can't tell the difference between an installed senator and one that actually got in by a vote. Why? Because our voting system is completely compromised. Do I think the SAVE Act is going to help? Yeah, a little bit. A little bit. I think it's going to help a little bit. Having ID is most definitely something that we should definitely have. There's no way we should have any type of elections without voter ID, without a doubt. However, is that going to be the end all, the beat all? No. Why? Because it doesn't address the voting machines hooked up to the internet. They're electronic. They can and are hacked every election. So how can we have any type of confidence? Well, you have the communists saying that 2020 was the most secure election in history. Who believes that? Not even they believe that. Not even they believe that. So where do they think they're going with this? And now we know that they know that we know that they know it's just a mess. The usual suspects, says Barry, and you are right. The usual suspects. Here's another good thing, another interesting thing that I listened. This was not actually the narrative by Burning Bright that I'm usually telling you about. This one was actually the Devolution Power Hour by John. I know him as Patel Patriot, but I can't remember his real name. John Harold. Okay. Also on Badlands. So him and Burning Bright were going back and forth about this very subject and the usual suspects and who they are. Oh, the narrative had a guy who was an expert on China. His wife's Chinese, and this guy is from Canada, and he does a lot of studying on China. Suffice it to say that what we are doing in our country, fighting the deep state, is exactly what Russia is doing in their country, fighting the deep state, and what China is doing in their country, fighting the deep state. Okay? Now, Chinese people don't get what's really happening in America. Why should we think that America gets what's happening in China or Russia? We don't. We really don't. Of the three, Trump, Putin, and Xi, I think personally, for my money, Vlad Putin is the most transparent speaker of the three. I have seen videos where Vlad Putin gives a history lesson. His press things, whatever you want to call it, junket announcements, sometimes go on for 3 to 4 hours. He does literal history lessons. Okay? He wants to make sure everybody has a grasp of the scope of things, that they can make an educated decision as to why things are being done the way they're being done. Now, is there propaganda involved? Of course, right? There has to be. Is there subterfuge and all that? Yes, of course. But when we look at our system, it's almost untenable, such a thing, because we have been conditioned with sound bites. We have been conditioned with movement of a camera so that, movies nowadays, if you've noticed, there are no more long shots where you pan in and pan out. It's just one, this way, that way, this way, right? So one of the things that we have to remember is we've been conditioned not to watch a screen for an hour, not to watch a movie for 3 hours, and certainly not to withstand someone of any position of authority to speak to us for that length of time. So when guys like Donald Trump or Putin or Xi speak to their people, Xi is a little different because it's a more empirical stance. He has to act in a certain way. Certain protocols have to be in play, or the Chinese people won't really either respect the message or the method by which it's being conveyed, right? So Trump and Putin don't really have that kind of restriction. Xi does, but make no mistake, they're fighting the same enemy we are. But again, I go back to that guy who studied China for many years. When we speak of the American government, the Russian government, the Chinese government, we tend to think of them in terms of a thing called a monolith, right? Just one big block, and that says it all. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. Because I do believe that there are many patriots in government. Just like with law enforcement, there are bad apples, but for the most part, they're patriots, right? If you're federal, if you're state, if you're local, it doesn't matter. There are always good, honest people that are doing the job for the right reasons, okay? Now, when we talk about what the American government is doing, we talk about what the Chinese or the Russian government is doing, well, then we know, factually, that they have to be good people in there. There have to be, So we can't just say in one fell swoop that they're all bad. I would love to say that the three letters, and I really don't like them. I don't really want them to exist. But I do know also that there are patriots within the ranks. Now, I don't buy this crap about, there's a rogue element of it. And no. The ones at the top have to be, okay? Maybe not now that we're in Trump 2.0. Hopefully, Kash Patel is a legit leader and so forth. But do you really think that the three letters that did the Russiagate thing, do you really think that it was one rogue element? No. The leaders cascade down to the corrupt actors, right? Strzok, right? All those, crazy people. And okay, so Jack Smith now is going to be indicted, apparently, which is great. But hopefully we'll see a replay of whatever happened to him when justice was served. Lord willing, we'll see those things. Replays of them, I think. I think they've been dealt with already. If this fifth generational warfare is going the way I think it might be, and I hope so. But, I'm not in the position to know. So whatever is basically my answer. The usual suspects, as Barry says, are afoot. But I do believe the Patriots are also afoot. I believe that we are in a situation where we don't really know what the heck's going on. Okay? Sort of like this Iran thing. On again, off again. On again, off again. They're all of their air defenses, all of their weapons capabilities are erased, and then they blow something up in the Strait of Hormuz. So it's one of those things where it might behoove us all to rewatch the movie Wag the Dog, right? So if we watch Wag the Dog, if you've seen it, you know that it's fake. So I can't believe they made that movie. It's very interesting to watch. They created a war, and I think that's basically what's going on with the Iran war. The consequences are probably, they're real world, but think about it. The price of oil has gone down since it started, yet the price at the pump is pretty much the same. And you think Iran is doing that? No, it's not Iran. It's the companies basically cheating us. So, we don't really know where the screws are coming from, but we're getting screwed, most definitely. What else do I have? That's pretty much all the images that I have. You guys, anything you want to talk about? I want to see. Oh, wait, we got Barry put up something. I heard Mitch McConnell's wife went to China. That's what I heard too. So there are people wondering, myself included, is Mitch even alive? So they came out with a picture. I should, if I would have thought of this beforehand, I would have come up with that image. But they have this image of McConnell and his wife in a hospital bed, and he's doing well, and he's smiling, she's smiling. But then they go like 3 or 4 years in the past, and they see that, wait a minute, this is the same pose and the same people wearing the same things at the beach. But here they are, same pose, same people, same clothes, in a hospital setting. So, you be the judge. Is he done? Is he already passed on? Will we hear a speech by Donald Trump that says, maybe he's already gone up there, or maybe he's down there. I don't know. I don't know if you remember that, but that was a good one. When Donald Trump was talking about, I think it was McStain, John McStain, I think, the man who should not be named, third generation traitor of the United States of America. Could have been him. I don't know. But that is something, because she went back to China. So there are such strong ties to China. And again, China has the same problem we have, the deep state. Now, again, let's go back to that monolith reference. The deep state itself, we usually use that term as the usual suspects, the bad guys, this, that, or the other. But they are also not monolithic, right? They have segments of it. So they got a chapter or 14 in China. They got a chapter or 20 in the U.S. Barry says, we will hold up a vote for our greatest ally. Yeah. We'll see what happens with that. I don't care what nation it is. We should not ever have dual citizenship, okay? We would never should a representative of the United States of America hold any other citizenship than that of the United States of America. There will always be divided loyalties. Always. The Bible itself says you cannot have two masters. Okay? Simple. Kaput. You can't have two masters. Right? You will love one and hate the other. So there is no, and I know he was speaking about money. I know that. But who do you think pays these people? Who pays these politicians? Exactly. I don't even have to say it. So, yeah, no foreign entanglements, guys. No, especially on that most sensitive of subjects, the intel community. Who, and I'm going to go back to that thing I said earlier of why Donald Trump didn't really go full bore against China. We can expect that foreign nations are going to go against us, right? However, we should never expect that our own people are going against our country. However, we are living, thank you, Barry, we are living in the times of an insurgency. So, ladies and gentlemen, you and I can be digital soldiers, digital warriors in this anti-insurgent effort. We are part of the anti-insurgency, the counter-insurgency, okay? So the better term, I guess, counterinsurgency. Our nation has been infiltrated, and as far as we know, at 2020 was overthrown by insurgents, okay? Another piece of information. Supposedly, Barack Hussein is in England, in his mansion in England, because things are now being brought forth that explain he was definitely what we thought he always was, a traitor. Now, a wrinkle in this, and these are things that people have known, myself included, since 2018. When, remember, Matt, when we had to share that office, and we would share subjects of the 17th letter of the alphabet, Q. And we remember reading drops that discuss this very thing in 2018, that Hussein would indeed be brought up on charges of treason. But he's got an answer, ladies and gentlemen. He's got an answer. Not that he's innocent. Of course he's not innocent. He would never be able to legitimately claim that. What he can legitimately claim is that treason is not the applicable charge to him. Why? He was never a U.S. citizen. Hussein never was a U.S. citizen. How can he be treasonous to a government or to a country that he is not a citizen of? This has been proven, ladies and gentlemen. Don't let the quacks in the communiverse tell you it's been debunked. there's no legitimate evidence, and all that vomit that they spew out every time a factual account of evidence is brought forward, right? The best one, and I can't remember his name. I watched a podcast on it. Well, I think he went an hour and a half on the forensic evidence of the fact that the Hawaii birth certificate put out by one Loretta Fuddy, who was then rubbed out, right, in a plane accident that went on YouTube or whatever with a GoPro. Craziness. Anyway, she gave him a fake birth certificate, which was demonstrably fake by a documents expert once employed by the FBI. Okay, that was his shtick, his thing, right? That he knew what he was doing. So, good and evil. Barry, you're referring to I don't know exactly what you're referring to, but this whole Hussein thing. So he's in England now, and people are thinking, well, is he ever coming back? I don't know. Is this just part of the movie? Yeah, I'd say it is part of the movie. I would say definitely part of the movie. Your wife watched that? Was that Wag the Dog, or was it the video of Obama coming out of his mansion? Because Obama and his husband are now in, to my knowledge, England, or he might have left his husband here. I don't know. Either way, only one of those dudes is a United States citizen. So the Loretta story. Oh, yeah. So then Mrs. Songer, you saw that she was very much alive in the water, and then you see the, I guess the top half of divers pop up out of this water. It wasn't really that deep. And there are, I think there were 7 people on board. One of them had a GoPro, was filming the whole thing. On that particular podcast, there was an expert of air navigation, aeronautics, and all that, and he said that it's extremely rare for that particular engine to have failed, and it failed, in a short trip or whatever it was from island to island. Anyway, it was just a scam. It was a scam, and somehow she either got taken away, she got killed, whatever, or they just used that to send her, to an island somewhere. And she's now, sipping Mai Tais or doing whatever that the deep state does to reward its sycophants, or, most likely, communists do just whack out their useful idiots. Dead people don't tell tales. So where I'm going with all this is breaking news, if it's even true. Finally, the Obamas are going to be exposed for who they are. Hopefully they won't expose Michelle, because I don't like seeing that kind of stuff, if you know what I mean. I've been in enough locker rooms, thank you. Quite the story. Yeah, it was quite the story. We'll see what happens with this Hussein thing. We'll see what happens with this merger of the intel agencies. So we already know that ours is completely shot through with corruption. Our civilian intel agencies are completely shot through with corruption, right? The only one, I think, and this is the reason I do believe this, is because I think that part of the counterinsurgency very much is military intelligence, right? And former DNI, Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, told us as much, okay? She was at one point in a position to know, and man, she really rolled it out at the end of her tenure, and now we're going to see what happens next, what rolls out next. That said, we got to keep tuned to see what this stupidity is of merging our intel agencies with a foreign nation's intel agencies, because it is only going to end in disaster. Again, I will repeat, okay? And I am not alone in this. I stand with the founding fathers of our country in saying that we, as Americans, should never have foreign entanglements. It is always disastrous. especially when those foreign entanglements are political and or military. And what this stupidity, whatever codified, polished turd that passes for a bill was passed in the House. I don't know. I don't know that Trump has actually weighed in on it. I haven't heard him say anything. I mean, obviously he's going to play it off in narrative form. I don't know where he's going to go with it, but maybe they're just waiting to see if there's outrage, right? Maybe they're just waiting to see if we, the people, are going to stand up for ourselves and be vocal about our opposition to this. Barry says, to me, it's treason. I agree with you 100%, Barry. It is treasonous, okay? We put in the people, well, if let's just say we did elect them, right, to put people that are patriots in charge of these things. However, if, and this is the case, traitors are put into place, which they were, okay? You can talk about the head of the CIA, the NF, what is it, NSA, all those, right? Whatever you want to say. And I would rather, if I had to choose between the two, I'd choose the NSA over the CIA. But anyway, FBI, right? You had Mueller, you had all these people, man. All of these people. Mueller could have been a player. He might be. He might have been a player. I don't know. But when these people rolled up the United States, put in the auto pen, claimed 81 million votes, and I've been, if you've been on the feed for Facebook, you can see I've been all over this voter fraud stuff this week, because it's coming out. It's not in any way gonna withstand the pressure. But, ladies and gents, where's the pressure gonna come from? If not from us, from who? If not now, when? Okay, I understand that elections are fraudulent, but why aren't more people talking about it? I understand that you can ruin a barbecue. I understand you can ruin a family get together by talking about the things we talk about. And I don't like to, I guess, initiate a fracas, but I also won't stand down. If somebody wants to throw mud at one of, or maybe the greatest president of all time, I'm going to throw right back. I'm not going to stand for somebody who watches TV for them to lecture me on what a good leader is. It's just not something I'm prepared to do, is listen to that stupidity. So when I talk about the things I talk about, I'm fully able to defend the position. I'm not afraid to. At the same time, I don't want to stink up the festivities, if you will. So I won't talk politics, religion, whatever. But again, my faith I will never back down from. I will never call anyone else God other than Jesus Christ. I won't, ever, unless you want to count the Trinity, right? Father, Son, Holy Spirit. I'll go there. But there's no way I'm going to not defend my faith. I'm commanded to. I went all in, okay, and I'll never back down. So it's similar to that, not on the same level, of course, but similar to that, as my patriotism for the kingdom comes first, the kingdom of God. My patriotism in this realm, is for this country, the great United States of America. So I think we ought to speak up. Thank you, Barry. I think we ought to defend our stances politely, even if they're going to throw mud or be ignorant or whatever. We politely stand our ground. But I think we need to go a little further. I think we need basically to bring things up in venues such as this. Now, I know Facebook throttles us. Facebook cuts us off at a certain amount of views. Facebook doesn't allow us to reach out. I think I have 800 something friends. They're not all getting this. They're not. That's just plainly the truth. They're not. But the fact of the matter is, you guys get it. And that's all I care about. Thank you for watching. So as I sign off today, if you guys don't want to talk about anything specific right now. Matt says, at least Mike and Barack can stay in the same prison. That would be amazing, wouldn't it? Conjugal visits without even leaving the prison. Imagine that. Yeah. That's, you know what? I can't, Matt, come on. You give me a visual. Yeah. Right? Oh, no. Anyway, why did I even read that out loud? Oh, Matt, that was, Anyway, those two, they deserve each other. So, I'm just smelling it. So, what I would like to end on is a better note than the Husseins. I would like to end on a patriotic note. First and foremost, for my true kingdom, that of Jesus Christ, King of Kings. Guys, he's going to save us. He built this world. He built this structure for this country. And if you don't believe me, you can just read the writings of our founding fathers that explicitly said that this is not a form of governance that will work for any other society than a moral one. And morals come from God himself. Otherwise, we would have no guide. Okay? Civil society breaks down quickly, without a moral framework. Our country has a moral framework. We have a legal and a moral framework. And we do not want to deviate from it, no matter how many insurgents there are in this country. We Americans, true Americans, are a moral bunch. I would like to think that. And I know it to be true for the most part. So, the first kingdom is that of God himself. The second kingdom, the second allegiance I have is to the United States, well, my family, and then the United States of America, right? So, I am a patriot on different dimensional levels. But what I want to say to you as we depart again, Corinne says, Einhorn is Finkel, Finkel is Einhorn. I don't get that one. Ace Ventura. There we go. Hey, Corinne, she just stepped into the studio here in the Otter's Den. So, Ace, yes, that was a good one. That was a good one. So, what I'm trying to say is, as we just basically say goodbye for a week, what I'm trying to say is, God bless America. God bless you. God bless your family. Okay? And we're going to get through this. Yes, I'm an optimist, but it's not hopium I'm on. It's optimism and faith. Faith in God. Okay? And he has blessed us and he will do so again. Thank you for watching, everybody. I don't know, Sue. I don't see you up here. Dad, if you're watching, I love you, Dad. It's me, even with the stash. Yeah, it's your son, Chris. Love you. Have a great week. God bless you. God bless your families. And the Otter is out. See you later. I love yous. Let me go out with the video if I can get it on.
This is the Bitcoin Otter Radio Show.
Oh my God, I love you so much.
On 97.7 FM, The City.